Curious about how a military veteran transitioned into holistic wellness? Today we're diving into the transformative journey of Carleen Limmer, who went from military service to holistic wellness entrepreneurship. We'll also discover the power of embracing new opportunities and what unexpected lessons she learned along the way. Get ready to be inspired and empowered to embrace holistic wellness in your own life. Remember, tune in now, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring episodes like this on Coffee with Tea. Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Tea. I'm your host, Tanya Tyler, and I'm excited because I'm going to connect with one of my dear friends, Miss Carleen Limmer, and she's going to take you on a little journey today. But before we dive too much into that conversation, I want to first welcome Carleen to the show. Welcome, my friend.
I'm glad to be back in connection with you again.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to connect with you. We have so much in common that it's amazing. So before I tell more about your journey, I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Please tell a little bit about who you are and how do you stay present and top of mind on people. So, because you're a connector. So tell a little bit about how you start this journey and how you connect with others.
Okay, so you want me to start with the background of how I grew up?
You can talk about what, a little bit about who you are, and then we're going to dive into our transition story because for those who don't know, Carleen and I are former military. So I asked her to share her journey story, and she was going to talk about how she transitioned. But before we really dive into that, I want to know a little bit more about who are you? Tell us about who you are, Miss Carleen, and then we can go into the story.
Yes, I am a connector with the tools to enhance your life and those around you. I have this nifty little tool I found called Send Out Cards, which is actually, I teach people the promptings way to reach out to your customers, clients, and important people in your life through cards and gifts, and so you could stay top of mind with them. And I'm also very passionate about proactive health and wellness, which has led me to Meek and Wellness, innovative energy technologies of the earth, sun, and the rainforest, which work with your body to help put it back in the right environment and can start helping itself.
Right. And I know we're going to dive more into your business and stuff like that, but when we connected, I guess I'll share a little bit of the backstory, like how we connected. We connected through Meetup. I hosted a women's group for veterans, and that's how we connected. And you were telling me you're retired military as well. So can you tell a little bit about your background so we can show how it was to transition into the military or from the military?
Actually, we connected at a networking group called Ladies Power Lunch. And from there, we launched into the Meetup and things like that, because I didn't know anything about Meetup and she did. So I was using, I've learned to work with the people around me to keep learning new things.
Right.
So my background is I was born and raised in a little town, northwestern Connecticut called Plymouth, not Plymouth, Mass, but Plymouth, Connecticut. And there wasn't a lot of opportunities, and I didn't have a lot of skills or job experience. So I enlisted in the Air Force under the open field electronics to travel and see the world and get some job experience. So this was going to be just a short term. I would get some job experience and get out into the real life. So, of course, I went through basic training where I learned that you have to do what you got to do to get to the next step. And the next step for me was training at Lowry Air Force Base, Denver, Colorado. Beautiful area. It was a challenge, the training, but I love the location. Now, what I didn't realize is that once you're in the military, you just can't pick any base you want to go to. I was going to go over to France. I was going to go to Europe. I was going to travel all over. They were like, oh, no, we only have openings in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or Alamogordo, New Mexico. And I said, wait a minute, I'm from the East Coast. You want me to go to desert or desert? They said, yes, pick one. Or we'll assign one for you. And I was like, oh. So I went to New Mexico, little town there, I wasn't thrilled to living in the desert. I even applied for a special education program just to get out of the area and finish my college degree. But by the time I got accepted for the program, which amazed me, I'd learned to love the desert. I was going to be going out. I had my 4 years up. I was going to be gone. But I said, well, let me take this opportunity, see what happens. I ended up at the University of Texas in Austin doing aerospace engineering. And I met some other gals from the East Coast also that were in the same program, and they were in mechanical engineering. So we kind of formed a little tribe that we kind of helped each other through. So my first real job with the Air Force after that was in Sunnyvale Air Force Station, where my dream location was to be out west in California and working on the overhead satellite systems up near San Francisco. I was like, oh, this is so awesome. So as you can see, sometimes when you make a decision, one opportunity leads to another. However, a couple of years into that assignment, my mom started having medical problems and was diagnosed with cancer. And I was like, oh, well, they can easily fix that. I mean, we have the technology. So even after a surgery for all her leukemia organs, she was doing okay. And then they found out that it had metastasized. I didn't even know what that was. That means it had migrated into another part of the body, into her liver. Now, we didn't have internet back then, but I was doing some research and I found out that that could be pretty serious. That is not a good thing. So my interest started changing from all this technology and wonderful stuff to why can't we help people be more proactive or help them, get better faster? So unfortunately, because I was all the way across the country, my mom did die with that. But that led me to a whole new awakening of why isn't there more information available to help somebody not only avoid these diseases, but if you think you're heading in that direction, do something to help yourself. So I started on this whole new passion of health and wellness, known as, and looked at various things even without the internet. So one assignment led to another, led to another, led to another. I got to my other dream job location in Washington, D.C., which was awesome. But what else happened during this whole transition time is that shortly after the Gulf War is that we were downsizing. Military was downsizing. Aerospace industry, some of the programs I was working on that were dear to my heart, downsized. And it got to be a budget battle, which the stress of that caused me some health issues. So once again, I said, put health as a priority, or started putting health as a priority. And a couple of things happened. I got shoulder tendonitis so bad that I couldn't even move my arm. So I left mainstream military because they said, oh, you need to take ibuprofen or get the shot. And I didn't want to do either of those because of the side effects. And by the way, if you take ibuprofen and you keep upping the dosage, it causes liver cancer. And I'm like, we're not going there, folks. So the military doctors say, well, good luck, honey. And I said, thank you. And I never went back to them. Instead, I found a holistic chiropractor, which I didn't even know what chiropractor did because that wasn't the thing to do back in the 90s, that taught me about nutrition, taught me about how to eat the foods, anti-inflammatory, had me do some other holistic stuff, which helped me recover in a number of ways and led me to some other products. So by the time I actually did 20 years like Tanya did, but not a day over because they told me, hey, we're downsizing. We don't need your career field anymore. Now, I don't know if I know other people have been in that position. You either get laid off, you're told you're not needed, and that can put you into a whole tailspin. Unless you've got some good guidance around you, because a lot of people in 1992 through 1995 were either getting let go from the military or they were just being pushed out because they didn't need your services anymore. We're downsizing. So what somebody told me, some good advice, they said, find out how much income you need to be able to sustain what you're currently doing or wherever you're going to be relocating to. And I thought that was such great advice. So that got me thinking, how much job do I really need? Or what can I be doing? Because a little bit of interesting transition when I got out of the military, there was no aerospace companies hiring. There was a freeze on. So once again, I couldn't find a job. And I was like,
Right.
are you kidding me? So I can so relate to people now that are having a hard time finding a job. I love to sit down and just have a conversation with them.
In the world of business, finding new customers and boosting sales is a challenge. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Eric F. King and yours truly every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as we host our unique online network called Promote Your Business. It's a supportive gathering for professionals from all fields. You can present your business for 2 minutes or simply network. Ready to take your business to the next level? Don't miss out. Visit confidentstrides.com/meetups. That's confident, CONFIDENTSTRIDES.com/meetups today. Right. So before we really dive more into, into your transition into your entrepreneur world, I want to like ask a couple of questions that are coming up for me right now. Is like when you were like downsized, and I know there's so many people who have been downsized from this, that has downsized a lot of people. What were you, um, um, when you took inventory of your skills, is that where you got the idea that maybe, there's a blessing in these linings? I mean, how was your mindset when you left the military going into, trying to figure out where your next step was? Was there a process? Because the military is very strategic. So did you have a mindset that you thought about, or did you take inventory skills? How did you make that transition from, this is where it was for the military, but this is where I'm going, because there are some people maybe stuck in between there. So can you share like what your mindset was when you were making that transition or where you're going to go next?
Sure, I'd be glad to share them with I didn't really have a good mindset back then. I was in mass confusion. We didn't have all the resources because I don't think we had much of an internet back then. So, and it was a long transition. I just kind of saw what was available in life. And I reached out to other people I know that had made the transition. Like, for an example, my tech person that I had, several years ago, she transitioned out because she couldn't stand the military and went into Mary Kay. And she was thriving. So I was like, hey, if she can do it, I can do it. So my recommendation is try a skill set or just try it. It didn't really work out for me. I didn't have the same skill set she had at that point in time because, as you're right, I was so mechanical. So, do my checklist. And so I wasn't ready to transition into the civilian world yet, but she was. So I say try something because it leads to different paths. That would be
Right.
my recommendation.
Right. Yeah. And I like I said, I want to let you know we're about halfway through
Okay.
where Carleen has been dropping nuggets. So if you've been picking up a few of the nuggets that Miss Carleen has been dropping, please make sure you hit that like button. And we're going to talk more about, as she transitioned. Because like I said, if we all hear our military transition stories, I don't, a little bit, mine wasn't easy. I'm sure as you hear, Carleen's wasn't easy, but we've made it. We're still here. So, um, what as we go further and you're talking about your transition story, and it sounds like you had like signs of where you were going to go because you talk about you're into the wellness sphere now without going too much into your business, but did you look back and see clues of where you were heading? That's like, how can you like how do you, for people who are leaving maybe a corporate world or like I said transitioning from the military, because military is corporate too,
Mm-hmm.
how did you look back and find that you needed to go towards the wellness space? I mean, did you see signs along the way? When did you pick that up?
I saw signs when, how do I say it? That if you're having challenges, both the mental, the stress, physical challenges kind of tells you there's something wrong. You're not like in alignment. You're not going where you need to go. And as a result of that, I looked for more holistic processes or like network marketing companies that would do all the background work for me because I didn't have a business background, but would just let me go try the product and share the product. So what I found that worked for me, and it may work for other people, is I went and was a personal use rep for several different type of holistic type products, whether it was the essential oils or whole organic whole food type things like that. I would try those because it helped my life. And one of the things I ran into as I was still moving from parts of the country to parts of the country was I ran into the Nikan Wellness because it was magnetic. I was on a job that I was on my feet all day, so I put the magnetic soles in and I could function better. They also had the magnetic mattresses, so I was sleeping on that because we ended up in a place in Nevada where we didn't really have, we had to get our own bed. So I'm, oh, well, let's just get the magnetic mattress and set it on the floor. We were doing fine. So be open. What I recommend to people is just be open to what the universe is bringing you to say, hey, maybe I ought to check this out, even if it seems strange and foreign.
Right. I like where you're going with that, and I want to make sure we stay on task, and before we dive more into your business and stuff like that. But I mean, I think you sort of hinted just a few minutes ago, but like, staying open to what the universe has for you. But as you were transitioning from the military to your civilian world and what you're doing right now, what did you put in place to help you start to become open, or did you already have like this open mindset? Because like I said, military, some we're kind of like, we can be kind of, it's got to be this way, we're like in the box. So how did you learn to sort of like get out the box and start to be open?
Two things is one, because of things that were happening with my family, I'm like, medical establishment and mainstream medical wasn't helping. So I'm like, there's got to be other options. So you get to the point, things aren't working, there has to be other options. And plus, I've been told I have a pretty open mind. Even when I was in high school, they said, well, you got an open mind. I'm like, what does that mean? So what I suggest to people that may not have ever thought of it before is maybe to write down what are the other possibilities that maybe you haven't thought of before. Because, hey, I was in the military. The only thing I knew was how to use my technical skills and my engineering skills. And I was like, there went my whole identity when they're like, well, you're too overqualified.
Right. Yeah.
And when you get too many roadblocks, I mean, I was applying for other jobs. I went through Kelly Staffing, who said, well, you're really too overqualified for us. I'm like, well, I know that, but I can answer a phone. Right. Literally what it came down to, they said, oh, okay, we'll let you try.
We'd like to take a moment to extend our gratitude and give a quick shout out to two amazing sponsors who keep our podcast running. First up, a massive thanks to AmeriFilms. Not only are they our go-to top-notch video editing, but their continued support keeps our show running smoothly. AmeriFilms, you are our editing heroes. Check out their stellar services for your next project at AMERIFILMS.io. And to Confident Strides, thank you for your unwavering financial support that allows us to bring you quality content week after week. So listeners, show your love. Visit AmeriFilms.io for video magic and check out ConfidentStrides.com for personal growth. Your support means the world to us. Now let's get back to the show. Right. Well, like I said, it's really, I love what you're sharing, because like I said, there are so many people who are stuck, like it has to be this way. And we're trying, sometimes I feel like, we could be a round peg trying to go through a hole, which was not meant for us. And so I think, as we transition, I mean, we're always transitioning to something. We can always learn something. And I like how you say just to be open and take inventory of your skills, or maybe not think about the stuff that you never really apply for. Like, what makes you happy? So is there something that you want to add? Because I want to ask you, like, what's the key thing that you want the audience to take away from this? What's the one thing you want them to learn through your journey that you'd like to share to other people?
Is that there are other options. We now have the internet so that you can actually look up and see what may be related to the type of skills you have. Utilize your local librarian. They have a lot of tips and ideas for you. Learn new skills. They have a lot of classes offered at the local libraries. Oh, I know. I want to recommend to people, start learning how to network. Even if you don't have a job, just go to your local chamber and attend one of the open networking things and say, what is available out here? Because I'm an introvert and I tend to be very shy. But once I started going and learned that when you go to networking, it's not about yourself, it's about asking about the other person. Like, who are they? What are their current challenges? What are they struggling with at the moment? And who do you know that could help them out? Because we all have our own contacts there. Even if you're not working anymore, you still have neighbors, you have friends, you've got social gatherings in your town where you know people. Reach out and be willing to be mentored by someone.
Right.
Or ask the question, hey, I'm struggling with this, or people have come to me, well, I'm looking for a job in this area. And we sit down, we talk. I say, I say, well, what have you done? What skills did you gain from there? And it took me the longest time to figure out what skills did I really get from the military. One of the skills was project management. When I relocated back here to Connecticut, I was using all those skills to project manage the household and property, because we had some real challenges back there, which is why I ended up moving back to Connecticut.
Right.
That was another whole transition. It was like, it was time to drop everything and circle the wagons back here. That's right. That's another tip I want to pass on to people. There may be family members that you can team with, or people that where you grew up at that you could team with and work the community there for not only yourself, but for the betterment of them also, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It's like we feel like we're limited. It has to be ourselves. But the way you're sharing your examples, we have a resource that maybe we haven't even thought about tapping into. And our network is bigger than we actually realize.
Yeah, that's the one thing I want to pass on to people. Don't think you have to figure it all out yourself. You have resources around you that you may not even be aware of where you're currently at. Whether it's, and go to your local library. They help you get on the computer and help you find things.
Right. Again, thank you so much for some of the golden nuggets. It's amazing how fast 20 minutes goes by. But another key question I want to ask and make sure we wrap up is, where can people find more information about you, your services, and what you do?
Okay, people can find more information on, I've actually put together a link tree. And so that's on, and she'll put that information in the chat, in the thing also. It's linkt.ee/Carleen Tools, CarleenTool, tools. Because I've learned throughout life you need tools. And I'm also that has my Facebook link in there, my Instagram, and my LinkedIn.
Yes. Again, thank you so much, Carleen. I know we talked about in the beginning you're an entrepreneur, and I think this was just an introductory interview. So I would love to maybe have you come back and have a deeper conversation. Maybe we can talk about how you find the right network company that works for you.
Oh, I'd love to. I'd be glad to, because I've gone through quite a few of them. So.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your insight and your wisdom with us. It's been a pleasure talking to you, my friend.
And I want to thank everybody for listening. This was kind of a quick Reader's Digest condensed version, but I'd love to have further conversation with anyone that I could help benefit.
Well, again, thank you so much, Miss Carleen. And I remind everybody who tune in that feedback is always welcome. Remember, the links that Carleen mentioned will be posted down in the description box. So please make sure you check out those juicy gems down there. Again, if you've enjoyed what Carleen shared and you want to, you got picked up some gems today, please hit that like button down there. Maybe follow up with a comment below. Again, if you want to get more great insight like what Miss Carleen shared today, and other great guests that we have on, please make sure you hit that subscribe button over there. And remember, take things in stride, go with the flow, and create your own path. And we will see you back here on another episode of Coffee with Tea. All right. Bye bye.